In the top stories, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Roux has declared that the alliance between Africa and the Caribbean is now unstoppable. Bermuda has tabled a national plan aimed at reducing and preventing homelessness, and the war in Iran is disrupting aid to Somalia, worsening an already hunger crisis. Hello and welcome to today's ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. I am Jasmine Thomas. First on the local scene, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Roux has used the close of a major summit in Nigeria to signal a deepening shift in Africa-Caribbean relations. Addressing the Afri-Caribbean Investment Summit in Abuja, he said the growing alliance between the two regions has moved beyond the symbolism and is now entering a more practical phase. Dr. Roux pointed to expanding cooperation in areas such as trade, investment and development, saying the relationship is being shaped by shared interests as much as shared history. He also referenced recent joint action at the United Nations, where African and Caribbean countries supported a resolution recognizing the transatlantic slave trade as a crime against humanity. The Prime Minister said that level of coordination demonstrates what can be achieved when both regions act collectively on the global stage. He noted the broad participation at the summit as a sign that momentum is building, with more countries and stakeholders engaging in partnership. Dr. Roux said the focus now must be on sustaining that momentum through action and delivering tangible results across sectors. Minister of Creative Economy, Entertainment and the Arts, Samuel Duggins, has highlighted a cultural exchange experience in Nigeria, celebrating shared heritage between Africa and the Caribbean. The showcase featured steel pan music, moko jambis, and drumming performances, blending Caribbean and African rhythms alongside contributions from the Black Bone Theatre Group. Duggins also participated in a drumming performance alongside Aisha Mena, describing the moment as a meaningful connection to shared roots and identity. The presentation reinforced the deep cultural and historical links between St. Christopher and Nevis and the African continent, with a message of unity across generations and borders. The Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority is introducing a new household recycling collection service, marking a practical shift in how waste is managed across the island. Beginning Monday, 6th April, residents will have access to a free house-to-house collection service for recyclable materials. Collections will take place every 2 weeks, with each parish assigned a specific day as authorities look to build consistency and encourage long-term participation. Residents are being urged to take note of their collection days and keep schedules visible at home to avoid missed pickups. The program will accept plastic bottles, aluminum cans, and clean flattened cardboard, while businesses and schools will be serviced separately during the week. Officials say the schedule has been designed to ensure full island coverage and smooth operations as the program rolls out. Collections will take place on a rotating schedule, with St. Paul's on Mondays, St. John's on Tuesdays, businesses and schools on Wednesdays, St. George's on Thursdays, and St. Thomas's and St. James on Fridays. We now take a look at news on the regional scene. Bermuda has introduced a national strategy aimed at ending homelessness, built on research, community input, and international best practice. The plan was tabled in the House of Assembly by Minister of Youth, Social Development and Seniors, Tine Ferbert. She said the strategy was developed over 2.5 years with input from more than 400 people experiencing housing insecurity. Officials say the approach is designed to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring through coordinated support systems. The plan sets out priorities including reducing rough sleeping, expanding access to affordable housing, improving data collection, and strengthening service delivery. It also emphasizes prevention, trauma-informed care, and greater collaboration across government and community partners. Latest figures show more than 1,300 people in Bermuda were affected by homelessness at the end of last year, including individuals living rough, in shelters, or in insecure housing. Furbert said the plan provides a structured framework to guide action with a focus on long-term solutions and prevention. And Belize and Guyana have signed an agreement to strengthen cooperation in forest conservation and climate action. The Memorandum of Understanding, signed on the 27th of March, brings together two CARICOM mainland states with some of the region's largest tropical forest resources. Officials say the partnership will focus on protecting biodiversity, improving forest management, and building resilience to climate change. The agreement also sets out areas for collaboration, including monitoring systems, data sharing, and exploring opportunities in carbon markets and climate finance. Both countries face common challenges such as deforestation, illegal logging, fires, and land use pressures, which the partnership is expected to address through coordinated action and technical cooperation. The initiative will also support sustainable livelihoods, including for indigenous and local communities, while promoting research and capacity building. Officials say implementation will be guided by designated national teams with plans for a technical working group to oversee progress. On the international scene, the war in Iran is now impacting humanitarian efforts in Somalia, worsening an already severe hunger crisis. Aid agencies said the conflict in the Middle East is disrupting supply chains and driving up fuel costs, making it harder to deliver food and medical supplies to those in need. In displacement camps in the south, children are arriving severely malnourished, with some too weak to even cry. UNICEF says millions of dollars in life-saving supplies are now at risk of delay as shipping routes are disrupted and costs continue to rise. Transport costs could increase by as much as 60%, with some routes expected to double, further straining aid operations. Officials warn the conflict has been a shock to the system, complicating efforts to respond to drought and widespread food insecurity. Nearly 6.5 million people in Somalia are now facing severe hunger, with young children among the most at risk. And the United States has rejected claims that Ukraine is being asked to give up territory in exchange for security guarantees in any ceasefire deal with Russia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said President Volodymyr Zelensky's assertion that Kiev is being pressed to cede the Donbas region is not true. Speaking after a G7 meeting in France, Rubio said the U.S. has not made any such demand and has only relayed Russia's position during talks. Zelensky had said in a recent interview that security guarantees from Washington were being linked to Ukraine withdrawing from the eastern region. Rubio disputed that claim, saying any decision on territory rests with Ukraine, and the U.S. is seeking to find common ground between both sides. He added that security guarantees would only be discussed after any end to active fighting. The developments come as diplomatic efforts continue to end the war, with Russia pushing for full control of the Donbas region. And now for a look at the weather. Weather across St. Kitts and Nevis is currently partly cloudy with moderate winds of 12 miles per hour from the northeast. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters, or 4 to 6 feet. As the day progresses, conditions will be partly sunny with periods of increased cloudiness and a 60% chance of localized showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy to cloudy with a 70% chance of overnight showers. The sun will set this evening at about 6:30, and sunrise tomorrow will be at around 6 o'clock. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.